What's up, guys? Welcome back to another killer video here on Comic Station. When people think of the DC Universe, they usually think of Superman's ultimate justice or Batman's strict no-kill rule. But let's be real for a second. The real world isn't that black and white. Sometimes, to stop a monster, you need a wilder monster. The DC Universe is packed with characters who aren't pure, flawless heroes, but they aren't evil psycho villains either. They walk right on that razor-thin line between good and evil. Their goal might be to save the world, but their methods? They literally smell like blood, gunpowder, and pure revenge. So today, guys, we're diving into one of the most exciting and hyped topics in comics, the top 10 best and most badass anti-heroes in DC history. From the ones who break the law to serve justice, to the guys who only know how to talk to villains with the barrel of a gun. I promise you, this list is going to get your adrenaline pumping. So right now, before we drop down to number 10 and start this dark journey, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop it in the comments. Who do you think is the most badass anti-hero in the entire DC Universe? Number 10. Lobo. Alright guys, we're kicking off the list at number 10 with one of the dirtiest, most badass, yet somehow lovable anti-heroes in the galaxy, Lobo, aka the Main Man. Lobo is a bounty hunter and space mercenary from the planet Sarnia. But you want to hear the crazy, shocking twist to his story? Lobo is the last survivor of his planet, not because it was accidentally destroyed. Hell no. He literally created a deadly plague for his high school science project and wiped out his planet's entire population of billions just so he could be completely alone and have zero competition. Yeah, he's that psycho and ruthless. So why do we call him an anti-hero and put him on this list? Because Lobo couldn't care less about playing the hero. He only works for cash, beer, women, and of course, his badass space hog. But he has one golden rule he never breaks. If the Main Man gives his word or signs a contract, he sticks to it until his last breath. This means if you pay him to save the world, he'll fight for it until his last drop of blood. But if someone offers him more money the next day to destroy that exact same world, believe me, he won't hesitate for a second. Lobo has Superman-level strength, he's immortal, and he has a crazy fast healing factor, to the point where if even a single drop of his blood hits the ground, a whole new Lobo clones right out of it. Watching him mess with the Justice League and drop his raunchy jokes has always been one of the absolute best parts of DC Comics. Number 9. John Constantine. Coming in at number 9, we have the man who dragged magic out of fancy upscale wizard towers and right into the gritty, rain-slicked streets of London, John Constantine. John Constantine doesn't have a superhero cape, crazy physical strength, or some high-tech battle armor. His whole look is basically an old beaten-up trench coat, a cigarette that's always lit, and a sarcastic smirk. But don't let his simple look fool you. John is the smartest, most cunning, and most dangerous sorcerer and exorcist in the entire DC multiverse. The guy is so smooth-talking and brilliant that he's literally conned the devil himself and heaven's highest angels just to save his own skin. John's life is packed with trauma and guilt. He got mixed up with black magic as a kid, and the biggest regret of his life was a young girl named Astra, whom John failed to save from a demon, watching her get dragged straight into the depths of hell right before his eyes. Ever since that day, John became a cold man who considers himself damned.
So, why is he an anti-hero? Because when it comes to saving the world and beating demons, John will do the absolute dirtiest things. He has zero issues with sacrificing his closest friends if it means stopping a much bigger catastrophe. John Constantine is the guy who walks in the dark so everyone else can live in the light. He's a man whom angels detest, demons fear, and yet, without his spells and brilliant mind, Earth would have been wiped out a long time ago. Number 8. Catwoman. Moving on to number 8, we have the woman who's been walking the razor-thin edge of the law for years, stealing the heart of the world's most serious and dark superhero, Batman, with just a single wink, Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman. Selina Kyle started out as a street orphan in the absolute dirtiest neighborhoods of Gotham. To survive, she had to learn how to steal, how to fight, and how to stay invisible. Catwoman is one of the best, most professional, and most ruthless thieves in comic book history. usually targeting priceless jewels belonging to Gotham's mob bosses and corrupt wealthy elite. But why is Selina an anti-hero and not just some dirty villain? Because Catwoman actually has a really strong moral compass. She might steal from the rich, but she protects Gotham's weak, street kids, and homeless women with everything she's got. Catwoman has clashed with Batman countless times, but at the same time she's fought shoulder to shoulder with him to save Gotham, even throwing herself in harm's way to shield him. Her relationship with Batman is a DC masterpiece, an eternal game of cat and mouse, where Selina has been both Bruce Wayne's saving grace and the person driving him crazy with her heists. Catwoman proved that you don't have to be a law-abiding citizen to have a heart of gold. Sometimes, by breaking the law, you can give a second chance at life to the people who need it most. Number 7, Deathstroke. Sitting at number 7 is a man where if your name ever ends up on his hit list, you might as well say your goodbyes right now and just wait for the Grim Reaper. Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. Slade Wilson was a U.S. Army soldier who volunteered for a secret government experiment to create a super soldier. This experiment jacked up Slade's strength, speed, stamina, and most importantly, his brain capacity up to 90%. This means Slade isn't just a ruthless war machine. He's a strategic and tactical genius who can literally predict his enemy's next move before they even think of it. Deathstroke operates as a top-tier mercenary and contract killer. The guy has zero issues with killing and has done some horrific things for a paycheck. But why do we view him as an anti-hero? Because just like Lobo, Slade has a strict moral code and military honor. He never backs out of a contract, and under no circumstances does he break his word. Even cooler, there have been times when Slade teamed up with Batman or the Justice League to save his family or defend the world from much bigger threats. Slade's hand-to-hand fights with Batman are absolute comic book masterpieces, moments where even the great Batman admits that fighting Deathstroke is like trading blows with a walking, flawless personification of death. Slade Wilson showed everyone that the line between a hero and a killer just comes down to who's cutting you a bigger check. Number 6, Black Adam. Moving on to number 6, we have the absolute ruler of Kahndaq, a man who holds the power of the ancient Egyptian gods in his hands and is ready to set the whole world on fire just to protect his people. Teth Adam, aka Black Adam. Thousands of years ago in Kahndaq, Teth Adam was just a simple slave whose family was slaughtered by corrupt rulers.
But when the great wizard Shazam found Adam worthy and granted him the infinite power of the Egyptian gods, Adam chose a completely different path. He didn't use this power for peaceful justice. Instead, he butchered every single corrupt ruler in the most brutal way possible and crowned himself the king of Kahndaq. Now, why is Black Adam an anti-hero and not just some psycho villain? Because Adam's goal has never been world destruction or pure evil. His entire existence can be summed up in 2 words: patriotism and sacrifice. In his home country of Kahndaq, he's literally worshipped as a god because he used his iron fist to drop poverty, crime, and corruption down to 0. Black Adam's method for keeping the peace is literally beheading criminals. He believes heroes like Superman or the Justice League are weak and cowardly because they let their enemies live. Black Adam's showdowns with Shazam and Superman are always wild to watch. He's a man who might look like a ruthless monster to the rest of the world, but to his own people, he's the only saving grace they've got. Number 5, Harley Quinn. Number 5 goes out to Gotham's crazy, pink and blue, and wildly popular girl who broke free from the shadow of the biggest villain in history to build her own identity, Dr. Harleen Quinzel, or, as we all know her, our very own Harley Quinn. We all know how Harley's story started. She was a successful psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum who fell head over heels for the Joker and completely lost her mind. For years, Harley was just a submissive sidekick and a victim of the Joker's emotional and physical abuse. But her true character peak happened when she finally realized the Joker wasn't worth her sacrifices. She dumped him like a piece of recyclable trash and decided to be her own boss. Ever since then, Harley Quinn entered her anti-hero era. She might still be a total psychopath who loves causing chaos, but now she teams up with the Suicide Squad to literally save the world. Along the way, Harley has stood up for the weak, faced off against villains way bigger than herself, and proved that beneath all that crazy makeup and mental behavior, she's got a super kind and loyal heart. Harley Quinn is the ultimate symbol of liberation, finding yourself, and of course, pure madness. Watching her go to war against alien armies with nothing but a wooden mallet or a baseball bat is the most beautiful paradox in comic books, making her one of the most fascinating anti-heroes in history. Number 4. Black Manta. Moving on to number 4, we have a man who turned grudge and revenge into a literal art of war, the most brutal, reckless, and unstoppable anti-hero of the deep ocean, David Cain, aka Black Manta. Black Manta's story begins and ends with one massive word: revenge. David started out as a pirate and a high-tech ocean mercenary working alongside his dad. But during a bloody clash with Aquaman, David's father gets killed, and Aquaman ruthlessly leaves him behind. From that exact second, David Cain's mind, soul, and whole existence are shattered, replaced by an eternal, pitch-black hatred for Aquaman. Using his own technological genius, David built a suit that can take the crushing pressure of the deep sea, multiply his speed, and shoot deadly plasma beams from his helmet's eyes, beams hot enough to melt right through the bulletproof skin of Atlanteans. Black Manta is an incredibly dark anti-hero. He doesn't play the hero, but at different times, when cosmic threats or alien armies targeted the ocean, he fought shoulder to shoulder with everyone else just to protect the earth and the sea, which was his territory for revenge. His iron will has turned him into an absolute monster, a man who fears no power, no god, and no king.
With that legendary black armor, he's shown us all that when a regular human holds a deep enough grudge in his heart, he can bring even the gods of the ocean to their knees. Number 3. Peacemaker. Third place proudly goes to the man whose life motto is literally, "I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it." Yeah, we're talking about DC's most reckless and bizarre anti-hero, Christopher Smith, aka Peacemaker. Peacemaker's story is a dark comedy mixed with a deep tragedy. He was the son of a racist, psychopathic criminal, raised from childhood with brutal military training and hardcore brainwashing. This training turned Christopher into a flawless killing machine, but it completely shattered his sanity. He's so haunted by his psycho dad's ghost that he hears voices in his head, genuinely believing that by killing bad guys, he's making the world a better place. Why does Peacemaker sit in our top 3? Because he completely redefines what it means to be an anti-hero. He pulls off the absolute dirtiest Black Ops missions for the government, causing total bloodbaths with those shiny, ridiculous helmets, each packed with a unique, deadly feature. Peacemaker doesn't hesitate to take out other heroes either. As we saw in the Suicide Squad, he was even willing to kill the fan-favorite Rick Flag just to keep government secrets buried. But the real charm of Peacemaker is that deep down, he knows what he's doing is messed up. He's just a broken kid trapped inside a deadly soldier's armor, desperately trying to break free from his monster of a father. That perfect mix of dark humor, mind-blowing combat skills, and childish innocence has made Peacemaker one of the most loved and unique anti-heroes in recent years. Number 2. Red Hood. And now, for number 2, we're looking at Gotham's favorite but deeply scarred son, Jason Todd, aka Red Hood. Jason Todd's story is probably one of the most dramatic and heartbreaking tales in all of DC history. Jason was Batman's second Robin, a stubborn street kid Bruce Wayne took in to raise as a hero, but his fate took a brutal, dark turn. In one of the most iconic comic storylines, the Joker trapped Jason, beat him halfway to death with a crowbar, and left him to blow up with a time bomb. Batman arrived too late and ended up holding the lifeless body of his young Robin. Years later, Jason Todd was brought back to life by the magic of the Lazarus Tit, but he wasn't that sweet kid anymore. He returned to Gotham wearing a crimson helmet and calling himself Red Hood, packing a completely new ideology. Jason believed Batman's way of fighting crime was a total failure. He'd say, "You can't just lock criminals up, Batman. They escape and kill again. The real solution is wiping them out from the root." Red Hood is a textbook anti-hero because he has absolutely zero issues with putting down drug lords, murderers, and predators. With dual pistols in hand, he paints Gotham's streets with the blood of criminals. Jason's philosophical clash with his adoptive father, Batman, never fails to bring fans to tears. He's the boy who just wanted Batman to avenge his death by killing the Joker, but now he's become the ultimate nightmare for criminals, easily locking down the number 2 spot on our list.
Number 1, Ra's al Ghul. And finally, we've made it to number 1, the most majestic, deeply rooted, and greatest anti-hero in the entire history of DC, a man who has been pulling the strings of the world from the shadows for centuries, holding one of the most philosophical and dangerous minds in comic history, Ra's al Ghul, aka the Demon's Head.
Ra's al Ghul started out as a regular mortal who, centuries ago, discovered the mystical Lazarus Pits and unlocked the secret to immortality and eternal youth. He's the leader of an insanely powerful secret organization called the League of Shadows, or the League of Assassins. Raz isn't just an unmatched master swordsman. Thanks to living for hundreds of years, he possesses infinite wisdom and a genius strategic mind. So, why does Ra's al Ghul deserve the number 1 spot on our anti-hero list? Because his ultimate goal is actually incredibly noble and beautiful: to save planet Earth and nature from human destruction and corruption. But where's the massive catch? His brutally bloody method for saving the planet. Raz believes that for Earth to breathe again and find true peace, 90% of the human population and corrupt cities like Gotham must be completely wiped off the map using weapons of mass destruction. He has absolutely zero fear of sacrificing millions of innocent lives to achieve this grand goal and protect the future of humanity. His relationship with Batman is an absolute comic book masterpiece. He sees Batman as the only worthy man on Earth and always addresses him as detective. Ra's al Ghul is a pure, philosopher-minded anti-hero who, out of his intense love for the Earth, became the world's greatest killer. And it's this exact mind-bending paradox that earns him the number 1 spot on our list. Alright guys, that wraps up our list of the top 10 most badass anti-heroes in the DC universe. These are the characters who prove to us that standing on the right side of history doesn't always mean following the rules. Sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty to stop a much bigger catastrophe from happening. Now it's your turn to blow up the comment section. Write down below, whose team are you on? Do you think anyone on this list was misplaced? Or is there another badass anti-hero I missed out on in this part? I read and like every single comment, so make sure to drop your thoughts. Huge shout out to all of you for hanging out until the end of this video with Comic Station. If you love this style of comic breakdowns and analyses, definitely smash that like button, share it with your fellow comic nerd friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Until another awesome video, take care of yourselves and peace out for now.